Zack Snyder's plan for Justice League 2 featured Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Flashpoint Batman. Now the actor reveals how close it came. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Before the DC Universe was rebooted under the leadership of James Gunn, Zack Snyder had big and ambitious plans for his version of the DC Extended Universe. He was all set to expand the Justice League saga, and interestingly, one of those ideas also included adapting the Flashpoint storyline. Zack Snyder may not be at the helm of the DC Extended Universe, but his impact and popularity are still at an all-time high. The iconic filmmaker is known for his bold storytelling and stunning direction, and he has movies such as Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and his version of Justice League under his belt. But after James Gunn and Peter Safran took over, his vision was cut short, but left plenty of what-ifs. One of which involved Flashpoint Batman. Now, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who was set to take on the role, has revealed a major behind-the-scenes detail. In this version, Bruce Wayne dies, and his father, Thomas Wayne, becomes a much darker and more violent Batman. Moreover, actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who briefly appeared as Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, recently confirmed that he was almost returned to play Flashpoint. In an interview via Den of Geek, he shared that the legendary filmmaker had plans to do more movies. It's a famous comic book arc in which the Flash changes the past and creates a major alternate universe with major changes, including a different version of Batman. He continued, "But it was the first time that Lauren and I met. I remember meeting her for the first time and she had just started The Walking Dead, and I was a huge fan. The idea was, truthfully, that Zack was going to do more movies, and that I think that there was a time when Flashpoint Batman would have seen these two characters in a much bigger role. We never got a chance to do that, unfortunately." Before they became famous for their roles as Negan and Maggie in The Walking Dead, Dead City, Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan had a brief but iconic appearance in the DCU. That's right, both the actors played the role of Thomas and Martha Wayne in Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Not only this, but he also detailed that both he and his Walking Dead co-star Lauren Cohan, aka Martha Wayne, were originally cast with a long-term idea in mind. Unfortunately, Snyder's exit from the DCU meant those plans never happened. While 2023's The Flash included elements of the Flashpoint storyline and brought back Michael Keaton's Batman, Morgan's version of the character never made it to the screen. Fans of Snyder's vision still wonder what his version of Flashpoint could have looked like, with Jeffrey Dean Morgan suiting up as a more brutal, alternate Batman in a darker DC timeline. Also, he bombarded Cohan with questions because she had just started The Walking Dead, and he was already a fan. He added, "Their scene, which shows the murder of Bruce Wayne's parents, is one of the most pivotal moments in Batman's origin." Interestingly, it was also the first time Morgan and Cohan met each other in real life. In an interview via CBR, Morgan recalled that they filmed the scene in Chicago on an extremely cold night. "I remember peppering Lauren Cohan with all sorts of questions because she had just started The Walking Dead the year before. We were also both on Supernatural. I had done Supernatural on the first season. She came in the second season. We never got to work together. We met in Chicago, shooting the Thomas and Martha Wayne scene, which was super cool." Though short, their appearance left a lasting impression, not just on fans, but on the actors themselves. And they still look back fondly on their time as Batman's parents in the DCU. James Gunn's Superman is in grave trouble after facing potential release block in 4 major international markets due to legal issues. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. David Corenswet's Superman looks incredible in all of the promotional material. Fans were initially skeptical about James Gunn's take on one of the oldest classic superheroes. However, Gunn brought the charm back to the character after Zack Snyder's rather dark version of the character. James Gunn's Superman is all set to make a grand worldwide launch on July 11th. However, the fate of the movie in 4 international markets hangs in the balance after Superman creator Joe Shuster's estate seeks an injunction on the film's release. While the estate's January lawsuit on the matter was dismissed in April, they have filed a new lawsuit. It could potentially stop the film from releasing in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. These countries are some of the biggest markets for Superman outside of the United States. This isn't the first time that the estate of Superman's creators has entered into legal battle with Warner Brothers over copyright claims. The copyright laws of countries with a British legal tradition, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia, contain provisions automatically terminating such assignments 25 years after an author's death, vesting in the Schuster estate the co-author's undivided copyright interest in such countries. By operation of law, Schuster's foreign copyrights automatically reverted to his estate in 2017 in most of these territories, and in 2021 in Canada. Yet defendants continue to exploit Superman across these jurisdictions without the Schuster estate's authorization, including in motion pictures, television series, and merchandise, in direct contravention of these countries' copyright laws, which require the consent of all joint copyright owners to do so. The plaintiff, Mark Warren Peary, sought damages and injunctive relief, as well as declaratory relief, establishing the estate's ownership rights in these countries. Mark Tobroff, the attorney for the estate, shared that the copyright reversion occurred only in 2017 and was never actually litigated in court. At the time, a spokesperson for the company shared with Deadline, "We fundamentally disagree with the merits of the lawsuit and will vigorously defend our rights." The lawsuit sought a jury trial, citing that the infringement was willful, intentional, and purposeful. However, the matter didn't go to the jury. However, legal trouble started tailing the film when Joe Shuster's estate first filed a lawsuit against the film in January 2025. The lawsuit had Warner Bros. Discovery and DC Comics as the two defendants. It claimed that the DC studios, under WBD, didn't have the proper rights to release Gunn's film in key territories via Deadline. The lawsuit stated that the studio didn't have the rights to release the film in countries like the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. While DC bought Superman's rights from creators Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, the estate claimed that the copyright laws of these countries with the British legal tradition terminate the purchase of rights 25 years after an author's death. Shuster died in July 1992, making the contract allegedly invalid in these countries in 2017. The estate shared in their suit that the use of the character in motion pictures, TV series, and merchandise in these territories violated the automatic foreign copyright reversion law. Key parts of the lawsuit read: Furman also denied the federal injunction on the film that blocked its release in the UK, Canada, Australia, and Ireland. The estate's attorney, Mark Tobroff, argued that the U.S. courts have the authority to enforce overseas copyrights under the Berne Convention. The international treaty ensures that the author's rights are protected across member countries. However, the attorney for Warner Bros. Argued in court that the Berne Convention was not enforceable in federal court. Interestingly, the estate didn't bring copyright suits in the UK or other territories, which wouldn't be feasible. However, Peary has no intention to back down. Shuster's nephew reportedly filed an identical lawsuit in the state court, seeking an injunction on the release of Superman. The Shuster estate's lawsuit unfortunately did not stand in court. According to a ruling in April 2025, U.S. District